The conversations around ranking the best bands of all time are opinion-based, but we've boiled it down so that it's at least based on the opinions of hundreds of millions of people. We can crowdsource that info based on things like sales, tours, and awards won. While there might be a consensus this way, we all know the average person couldn't explain to you the most basic thing about music theory, but they know what they like when they hear it. That means that some of the most skilled bands out there won't make the list because they don't have mass appeal. And that's part of our equation here. The real fun is comparing the list here with our lists like the richest rock stars and the best guitarists of all time and seeing if there's a pattern that emerges. Do money and skill go hand in hand in the music industry? And are bands really driven by lead roles like guitar or vocals? Hit that subscribe button and give a super thanks because it helps this channel grow. But in the meantime, let's jump into the list of the best bands of all time. Metallica. Their certified sales is approximately 105.6 million. We can't really put into words the impact Metallica has had on metal and hard rock since their formation in 1981 in Los Angeles. Founding members James Hetfield and Lars Ulrich have kept the band relevant along with current members Kirk Hammett and Robert Trujillo, and previous members Jason Newsted, Cliff Burton, Ron McGovney, and David Mustaine have crafted a sound that is both aggressive and melodic. It is no wonder they have attracted legions of dedicated fans across the globe. You could argue their heyday was in the 1980s and 90s with the releases of chart-topping albums, including Master of Puppets and Justice for All, and their self-titled record, often referred to as the Black Album, though they continue to attract thousands to their live shows. Metallica have consistently pushed the boundaries of heavy metal music, bringing it, for better or worse, into the mainstream. Enter Sandman is an anthem, while the track Master of Puppets has seen a resurgence, thanks to its presence in the Netflix series Stranger Things. Now, a new generation of fans are digging the band's lengthy list of albums and material. They are not afraid to experiment with their sound, releasing an album like Lulu with the late great Lou Reed. It may have alienated many fans, but hats off to artists who are so open to taking risks. Metallica's fierce energy, technical mastery, and unyielding dedication to their craft have left an indelible mark on the annals of music history, solidifying their place among the pantheon of greats. The Doors. They have made certified sales of approximately 50.7 million. The Doors were active from 1965 to 1973, a short 8-year run, but quickly became one of the most influential bands of the counterculture era and a largely controversial band due to Jim Morrison's erratic behavior. Every decade has had a revival in interest in the band and new fans added, due to cover songs becoming popular, usage of their songs in hit movies, movies about them, etc. Their first album The Doors re-entered the Billboard charts 14 years after its initial release, as did their greatest hits and best of albums. Their legacy will live on this way forever, it seems, as it should. They even created a brand new song in 2012 with Skrillex of all people, called Breaking a Sweat. U2. Their certified sales is 115.1 million. U2 formed as a crew of friends in secondary school in Dublin, Ireland before any of them had any real proficiencies with music. Within 4 years they scored a record deal. By their 5th album, they became a global sensation. At the present, they've won 22 Grammy Awards, more than any other band, period. Part of their success is every time they run into controversy or boredom from their fanbase, they evolve and revolutionize their sound. They're huge experimenters, and The Edge really exemplifies this with his guitar pedal array. The Eagles. Certified sales in their run has been about 153.2 million. The Eagles had a 9-year run starting in 1971, though they recently made a return, and made a lasting impact in that time. Like Pink Floyd, their album singles all did okay, but never great, but they were so consistently good that they now hold the 1st and 3rd spots on the list for most albums sold, with the big one being their greatest hits record. In 1994, the band got back together and quickly dropped an album of new material and live music, released a documentary, and embarked on an extended tour. This will only further solidify their sales and fan base. Everyone loves their blend of soul, bluegrass, rock, and R&B for good reason. Queen. Queen already earned their slot on this list, but lately, they're gaining even more ground. Since 1970 they've not stopped touring and creating new music, albeit with new vocalists since Freddie Mercury passed. They may be Queen, but they're the kings of arena rock, with songs that are as overplayed today as they were immediately following their release. If you've been to a sporting event, you've undoubtedly heard their anthems chanted by those in attendance to intimidate the opposing team. The work they did for the Flash Gordon and Highlander makes them some of the best soundtracks ever. There was even a biographical movie made about the band recently. The Beach Boys. They have made a certified sales of about 32.7 million. The Beach Boys rode the wave of the California sound of surf rock and then evolved into more personal themes as their fanbase also matured. Their music's orchestrations and arrangements became so complex that, like the Moody Blues, they couldn't perform it faithfully live on stage. Their vocal harmonies were recorded in one take early on and are absolute perfection that few achieve today. They're one of the few bands that found success before the British invasion and maintained it during and after that period. These guys were deeply spiritual, and if you listen closely you can hear it in the lyrics. Pink Floyd. They have certified sales of 124.0 million. Even with their early releases led by Syd Barrett, Pink Floyd was already making their mark on the British rock scene. Later, when David Gilmour joined the band and took over the creative direction, they gained international recognition. 4 of their albums topped both the US and UK charts, though only 2 of their singles ever reached the top 10 in either region. In a 6-decade career, they've released 15 albums and toured to support each release. They even composed film scores for some lesser-known movies. 2 of their albums, The Wall and The Dark Side of the Moon, are both in the list of the best-selling albums of all time. Dark music like theirs won't ever be considered a pop, but they have just as many fans and longer-lasting popularity. Led Zeppelin. Certified sales is about 142.9 million as per when this video was published. Part of reaching a wide audience is having a wide appeal. Led Zeppelin played music in the blues rock and folk rock genres, but are also thought of as progenitors of heavy metal too. Possibly the most influential and popular song in rock history is their single Stairway to Heaven. These guys did it big, every time. The concerts broke records for people in attendance. Their albums rank among the top-selling ever. Each of their 9 total albums reached the top 10 and 6 reached the #1 slot on the charts. They've earned all of the music awards available. Their legacy is everlasting among musicians and fans alike. The Rolling Stones. They had 102.9 million certified sales. The Rolling Stones are such a big deal that even the members' solo careers, like that of Mick Jagger and Keith Richards, are just as big. They got started in 1962 and were at the forefront of the British invasion. Of the top 5 highest-grossing tours, 4 of them belong to this band. Part of their success is attributed to them staying true to the safe foundational genres like R&B, soul, and rock. They even recently won a Grammy Award for Best Traditional Blues Album. Consistency is key when pop music evolves and changes so rapidly, which is why they're still on top after nearly 60 years. The Rolling Stones thankfully survived several feuds that have broken up other bands. In that time they've released 30 studio albums, 23 live albums, 25 compilations, 120 singles, and embarked on 48 tours. The Beatles. With 292.9 million certified sales in a short run of only 10 years from 1960 to 1970, the Beatles still the best-selling artists of all time by far. If you were to add in their solo albums and side groups, they'll hold that record forever. They started young and led the British invasion of pop and rock into the USA, and their fans grew up alongside them, purchasing each album as time went on. These guys won all the awards, starred in and produced movies, and even hold records like having the most covered song of all time. The Lennon-McCartney songwriting team is the most successful ever. They had pop appeal and rock appeal, and evolved through the interests of the hippie era. They're some of the best musicians to ever exist. They're so good that hipsters think it's cool to hate them. So there you have it. 10 best bands of all time. As always, let us know in the comments below what you think about these not-so-friendly music rivalries. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more music content.